All right, so as I described, I do think that the big part of the problem was, after the abuse that happened in high school, after the shoot away machine and everything messed up my shot and everything, my grandpa said, he brought up this idea. He was like, it's best not to ever talk about the past because, when Jesus, when he put his plow down, he didn't look back, and when you're in the flow, you're just in an eternal moment. So it's best not to talk about the past. But the reason why I said that was because he didn't want me to bring up the abuse that happened. He didn't want me to bring up all that stuff, and yeah, I think that's good. But later I wanted to reconcile. The whole point of that is so that you can have a harmonious, nice family. And obviously you don't want to bring up the abuse that happened. But they had their assumptions. They thought, well, my grandpa thought it was just that I was playing against bigger, better players, and I was upset with my dad, and that's why I fought with my dad. He didn't know it was a shoot away machine. If it wasn't for the shoot away machine, none of it would have happened. But I was a great player, and I was just automatic. And my grandpa wants to know, why do you want everybody to know you're a great player? My grandpa always wants to make me the fucking bad guy, dude. But I'm like, dude, I was automatic. I was exponentially getting better. I was a starting point guard on varsity as a freshman. I was really great. Now, the shoot-away machine was a problem. Now the thing is, so my grandpa's like, yeah, well, after the abuse happened, he came up with that idea. So then my mom and dad are like, yeah, so no talking about the past. And that was cool with that. But then when they wouldn't talk to me, when I discovered the theory of everything, I want their help, I want to see them and stuff, and they're like, no, we won't talk to you because, and then they bring up the past. Because you remember how horrible you were in high school? And then I try to tell them. This was in 2023. I never brought up the shoot-away machine, anything like that, until, after I graduated college, and they wouldn't talk to me. So I'm just trying to talk to them, and they're like, no, we don't want, my mom was like, your dad's never going to talk to you. Don't you remember how you treated him in high school? You were a piece of shit. And I was like, Mom, the reason why that happened was because of the shoot-away machine. And that was the first time I ever brought it up. And she's like, oh my God, it's not the shoot-away machine. And then now people are going to think like my ex-girlfriend, she's like, I try to tell her, my parents are the ones who are holding the grudge. I want to see them. I want to move on. And she's like, no, you're the one who's holding the grudge. You're talking about the shoot-away machine. No, I bring up the shoot-away machine because I'm trying to tell them it wasn't my fault. They're the ones who are holding the grudge. I want to move on. I want to see them. I want to make up. But, but they wouldn't see me. So, right when I graduated college, 2013, I'm trying to talk to them. And my mom's like, your dad's never going to talk to you. I'm talking on the phone. I haven't seen them really since high school. I'm talking on the phone. Your dad's never going to talk to you. We're never going to see you. Don't you remember how horrible you were in high school? Yes, I remember that. It was a bad time because the shoot-away machine messed up my shot. I needed help to fix my shot. My dad was trying to help. He was frustrated. It was a tragedy, But then she's like, oh my God, you playing the shoot-away machine? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh my God, you blame everybody but yourself. Oh my God, if anything, the shoot-away machine would have helped you. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It really was a shoot-away machine. I can show you videos. I can show you exactly that it was a shoot-away machine. But anyways, that's the whole reason why, I'm not the one who's stuck in the past. My point is, I'm the one. So I'm like, I wasn't the bad guy. It was a tragic situation. Now let's move on. They're the ones who are stuck in the past, because they have a false impression of the past and of me, And that's part of the reason why I also was a leftist and a liberal, because then I tried to make it into a black-white thing too. I'm like, yeah, well, the black people too, the people, and I always looked at the white supremacists as they say why do we have to talk about the past? Why can't we just move on? And I'm like, and I was always like, well, because the past has repercussions in the future, and that's why you bring up the past. But, I understand what my grandpa's saying. Yeah, don't bring up the past and let's move on. And I understand that, and I think that's great. But they're the ones who are stuck in the fucking past. If I would love that too. I would love it if they could let go of the past and we could move on and they could talk to me and they could not have a horrible estimation of me and hatred of me that they have based around the past because of the shoot-away machine and the conflict that happened because of that. I would love that if they could do that. But they're not the ones who are doing it. They don't want to do that. They want to just throw me to the side, So, but anyways, that was a big part of the problem. My grandpa's whole thing of, no talking about the past. So then when I tried to bring up the shoot away, my mom was like, oh my God, no talk about the past. This is why you're schizophrenic. I'm like, I'm not schizophrenic. I discovered theory of everything. Oh, this is why you're schizophrenic, because you're stuck in the past. I'm not the one who's stuck in the past. You guys are stuck in the past. Oh my God, it wasn't a shoot away. Oh, and then later she would be like, I know, okay, fine, it was a shoot away, whatever. We're still never going to talk to you. We're never going to talk to you. It's never gonna happen. You have to accept that. And again, it's because of the past why she's like that. Because in the past, with the shoot away machine, I tried to fix my shot. I tried to get everything better. And my mom would be like, no. And my mom was like, I was trying to have help with my dad. My dad always helped me my whole life. And my grandpa's like, well, why did you want your dad to help you? Because he helped me my whole life. And he always was there with basketball. And he was a good help. But, we're trying to fix my shot. My dad didn't know how to fix it because he didn't know it was a shoot away machine that was the problem. He told me to do the wrong thing with my feet because he helped me before my shot was really messed up. So now that my shot was really messed up because of shoot away, he didn't know how to fix it. So, then I needed my dad's help. And I was desperate. My shot was messed up. And I didn't know it was a shoot away machine. So, if it wasn't for the shoot away machine, like I said, none of this would have happened. So then my grandpa's like, so then I'm trying to get my dad to help me. And my grandpa's like, well, you can't force things. You can't make things happen. You have to be in the flow. But I needed help with my shot. And the shooting machine was messing it up, It's a tragic situation. But then my mom's like, yeah, you can't force things. You can't make things happen. You have to accept things. Everything's just fine. Like your grandpa says, everything's just fine. You have to accept things. So now she developed this hatred of me and this contempt and she memorized this thing. So then now even today where I'm like, I'm asking for a very reasonable thing. Can I just talk to you and dad? Can I see you guys? Can we move on? No, you have to accept it. You have to just accept it. You can't make things happen. You can't force things. We're not going to see you. And it's like, dude, you're the one who's fucking forcing things. It's not natural to not talk to your son. It's not natural to not see your son. So, but I do think that my grandpa, that's why I say my grandpa was a big part of the problem, was because, dude, the shoot away machine was the problem. Things would have been bad regardless because of the shoot away machine. But when he came in and he came up with all his spiritual ideas, everything's just fine. Everything's energy. You can't make things happen. And then basically, but he even admits he cast pearls of swine. But even that bullshit, it's just like, dude, why can't we just be fucking normal? And he's like, oh yeah, no talk about the past because when you're in an eternal moment, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But even he would admit that he even told me, my dad's being stubborn and he should talk to me and see me, And it would be helpful if I could tell my dad about the shooting machine and I could show him because I fixed my shot. But my grandpa didn't know that. But that was another problem, was because it took a long time for me to fix my shot. It took till Compton College in 2019. And when I was really starting to study videos and I was getting help from the coaches there and I started to figure things out. But even my grandpa, because my grandpa in his mind, he's like, I know that in his mind, he had a low estimation of me. He's thinking, oh, it's just because you're playing against bigger, better players. And he didn't know how fucking good I was. That's why I fucking bring it up. And that's why I have, my grandpa's like, oh, yeah. So my grandpa stopped teaching me because he's like, oh, you have resentment for me. You have resentment for me. I'm not going to teach you anymore. But that's the other thing. I needed help. He just confused me. He left me in the dirt. So, but my point is my grandpa confused me. He's trying to teach me about the flow, but then he's giving these rational, he's taking reality in a rationalistic, naturalistic way, like everything's energy, and trying to use scientific terminology. Everything's energy, and it's, complexification patterns, and, there is no heaven, but what comes after life? It's an evolutionary process, and, so that's confusing me and I like that because I was anti-religion before, right? But at the same time, I was anti-white, so I didn't like the idea of, evolution and progress, because I thought that was, a white thing. But anyways, my point is, my grandpa is just confusing me, because he has this naturalistic way, but then he's also, also new agey. And it's I'm well, what are you? What the fuck? What? He doesn't believe in synchronicity and stuff, but he thinks everything's energy, and he thinks that, Jesus can, manipulate things through energy. So it's he believes in magic, but he doesn't believe in magic. He's like, well, it's not magic, it's energy. But the quadrant model actually shows that there is kind of a magical thing. There is gematria. There is kind of magical aspects of reality. I see reality as more dreamlike. So I think he confused me because he didn't understand reality. His understanding of reality is not accurate, in my opinion. So he's just confusing me, but also at the same time, I'm learning stuff from him. So I want to learn more about the flow. I want to know what he's actually teaching, but he would confuse me. And then I would later figure out, it was around this time when I started studying Dr. Hora stuff, that my grandpa wasn't even teaching me what Dr. Hora taught. Dr. Hora believed more like I did, that reality is more dreamlike. That was my grandpa's teacher. But my grandpa, he tried to make everything naturalistic. Everything's energy. That's not what Dr. Hora taught. What my grandpa taught was not what Dr. Hora taught. So my grandpa just confused me. So I'm gonna get more into it in the in the next lecture where I'm going to talk about what happens next in the story. But as I was saying, I started studying with my grandpa after Katie had the miscarriage / abortion. And, I care about Katie a lot. I hope she never hurts herself. But, and I do like her. But so that happened. And then my grandpa started teaching me again because he felt bad for me. But then he's like, I'm trying to tell my grandpa, can I please talk to my mom and dad? And my grandpa's like, well, and I'm telling him about how, like, people with, there's been studies that people who are alienated from their family have cancer more. My grandpa's like, well, it's not the alienation. It's the story that the people tell about their alienation that gives them the cancer. So he's trying to blame the victim again. And I'm like, Grandpa, can you guys just stop fucking alienating me? I want to talk to mom and dad. Well, and instead of just being like, well, we'll try to work it out. He says like, oh, it's not them. It's not the alienation that's the problem. It's your story about the alienation. No, dude. Let's just fucking stop being weirdos. Stop always trying to blame the victim. And let's just fucking move on. And let's see each other. And I know that in my mom and dad's mind, I'm going to be crazy. They think I'm schizophrenic. But that I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to be punching walls. No, that was high school. That was with the shoot away machine. That was bad. But it's a new time. And they haven't seen me since high school. So I know that if I can interact with people good. I interact with people good. My mom thinks that I'm running around talking about the quadrant model, acting like a lunatic. She doesn't realize I'm a normal person. She hasn't seen me since high school. But neither has my dad, really. So if I could just interact with them and show them I'm a normal person, and then maybe we can talk, and maybe we can work things out, and just have a normal, but they haven't given me a chance. So I'll talk more about it next talk.